What was the problem? Oh, yeah, I guess so. I just realized it's a different.
Oh, that's right. Oh, great.
Appreciate that. Yeah, she's down behind me. They ended up with two, so thank you.
Just too large to send in. You sent it to me.
Oh, I did. I don't know what word it is. Decided it's harder to hold.
Judy?
No.
Okay, this is one you're aware of. No problem.
It's at least 9 o'clock. I'm calling the meeting to order. We'll stand for in this case, it'll be a moment of silence again. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. I know that.
No, not yet. I neglected to establish a quorum. Monique, do we have a quorum?
Yes, ma'am, we have a quorum.
Thank you. I did already call us to order. If anyone would like to give the prayer during the meeting, please let me know. I hate to call on somebody when I haven't talked to you ahead of time. So that's why we do the moment of silence. I have neglected to ask. All right, let's move on. Dan with the minutes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion for the minutes as submitted with minor change to be approved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? All right. Do we have a secretary's report?
We do. If I can get this mic to bring. There we go. Can you hear me now? All right, we have received 2 letters from Kathleen Warm. The first letter we received, they're rather lengthy, and I'm going to just give a synopsis of them. The first one was regarding recycling of aluminum cans, and she had made note that at the lounge in Dickman Hall, they were not recycling the aluminum cans, which she was quite concerned about. And so she sent a letter proposing that with the Fort start recycling aluminum cans all over at the golf course, Dickman Hall, wherever, and that has been addressed and set up and is being taken care of, right? So that's the first letter. The second letter expressed concerns over the fact that the last community council meeting was not posted on the marquee. And she was a bit upset about that, which reflected in the letter. There were some hearsay incidents that occurred over it, but the fact is it was evidently a misunderstanding. In order to have that posted, a work order, a very simple one on a form, needs to be filled out and turned in on Monday at the office, and then maintenance takes care of getting that notice posted on the marquee. And I guess that misunderstanding has been cleared up now too. That takes care of the letters. Also, Garland Young has informed me he will not continue on the Preservation Committee operation. And so we're going to need two replacements, one from the Community Council and one at large, because we have two going off. And so that anyone that would be willing to serve and would volunteer would be very appreciated by us. And as we mentioned that, we might go forward and say we could use people volunteering for other committees too. It would be nice to have a list of those willing to serve on, as they need to be, some members need to be replaced. And that concludes the Secretary's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Treasurer's report.
Good morning. Okay, we'll start with bank balances as of Wednesday, January 17th. Del Rio Banks, Texas Community Credit Card, $69,611.55, excuse me. Texas Community Checking, $45,875.46. Texas Community Money Market, $2,564.53. General Fund, $89,105.74. Payroll, $40,507.63. Restricted Fund, $412,440.26. And Las Morris, $9,098.75. Subtotal, $669,203.92. Fort Clark Historical Building Preservation Fund. Now this is their fund. This is not what is included or allotted to them in the restricted fund. $18,645.53. Fort Clark Hail Damage Repair Fund, $24,208.79, and that is a final. As far as I could tell, the checks have, the last checks have reached the bank. Grand total of $712,058.24. Should be noted that the statement ending balance through December 31st, 2017 for the Las Morris account was actually $6,682.59. Reconciled bank statements. The Texas Community Credit Card account had not been reconciled as of the time of this publication. Texas Community Checking, $26,408.02. Texas Community Money Market, $2,564.53. Brackettville Bank and Trust, General Fund, $102,236.57. Payroll, $6,808.55. Restricted Fund, $414,263.55. Las Morris showed actually a minus $2,599.42, and our accountant is trying to figure out what happened with that, because actually on Wednesday we went online and the account actually shows $9,098.75. And I'm just repeating why we're having so much trouble with our accounts, is we're getting this type of glitch in our systems. Subtotal $549,681.80. Fort Clark Historical Building Preservation Fund, $18,645.53. Fort Clark Hail Repair Fund, $24,208.75, for a grand total of $592,536.08. That concludes the bank balances. Bank transfers. December 2017 estimated. To Bank and Trust Las Morris, 0 for operating expense. Texas Community Checking, $110,000 for operating expense. Bank and Trust Payroll, $70,000. Bank and Trust Restricted, 0 for operating expense for $180,000. 2, Bank and Trust Las Morris, 0 operating expense. This is for December 2017 actual. Texas Community Checking, $77,300.25 operating expense. Bank and Trust Payroll, $68,500. Bank and Trust Restricted, 0 for operating expense for an actual of $145,800.25. January 2017 actual, Bank and Trust Los Morris, 0 for operating expense. Texas Community Checking, $28,463.03 operating expense. Bank and Trust Payroll, $64,000. Bank and Trust Restricted, $92,000 for a total of Bank and Trust Restricted, 0 operating expense for a total of $92,467.03. January 2018 estimated. Bank and Trust Los Morris, 0 operating expense. Texas Community Checking, $70,000 operating expense. Bank and Trust Payroll, $64,000. Bank and Trust Restricted, 0 for operating expense for an estimated January of $134,000. That concludes our bank transfers. I move that the bank transfers be approved.
Second.
All in favor? Was there a vote from you, Sandy?
I have a question,
Okay.
one question here. Under the January actual, it's such a discrepancy for the operating expense, what it usually is. That was January 2017, by the way, to make note, that was a year ago. But it just, I just wonder why it dropped to 28,000 when it usually runs around 70,000 every month.
Isn't that an extra payroll this month?
Extra payroll won't reduce it by $42,000.
The operating expenses is where they changed it.
It's low at 28,467. Yeah, about that.
Maybe there was something carried over back then, or
Hard to tell, we don't have January's.
I want to say that when bills were paid, it was probably towards the end of the month for the second set of bills, but the transfer actually happened in February. But I have to look into that to make sure that's what happened.
okay, well, I was just wondering, what I was concerned was if it was an error, and, somebody hit the 2 instead of a 6 or something.
I'll look into it.
All right. On the Los Morris account, I think the difference between the two balances of 9,000 and minus 2,000 would be because of outstanding checks that have been issued to pay delayed billings that we evidently were delayed in receiving. Thank you.
I'm still wondering if we're actually getting our money's worth on our outside person for that. Let's move on to committee reports.
Executive officer.
Excuse me, wasn't going to let you talk at all? The executive officer's report.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Well, at the last meeting, I reported the systemic problems within the Sun Belt accounting program, and at that time, I suggested to you that we should go out with the confirmation letters.
Excuse me, we've got a really big audience, and they're deadening the sound, so if you could speak up closer to the mic would be good.
I'll get closer to the mic. So at the last meeting, I reported to you the systemic problems within the Sun Belt accounting system. And this is a system that we've been using for more than 20 years, and it can no longer be supported, and we just have to change it. As a first step to correcting the problems, I recommended that we go out with confirmation letters to all of the memberships with the supervision of our outside auditor. So the confirmation letters did in fact go out to the 2,155 members, and some 45 letters were returned to us. And we will be responding to those 45 returned letters as we sort out their issues. Some did not understand what they were looking at. Some were perhaps a little confused when they saw that they had several accounts and they did not recognize them as their account number, but that what they were looking at were sub-accounts. Sub-accounts meaning everyone has a membership account, and they have, and those who live on the fort or own properties, performing properties, they have residential accounts, and everyone has a supplemental account and a common property tax, common property assessment account. So a person may have 4 accounts. They're distinguished by the -01 or the -11, the -61, -71. And many of these 45 people didn't understand that those were, in fact, their accounts. Some thought that they had received a bill, so they sent back a check. And so we'll be returning those to them if that's what they want. Some had negative balances because they had paid in advance, and so when they saw the negative balance, they thought that they owed that. So we're having to share that information with them too. But in the process, we did discover that there were some glitches, there were some problems, there were some difficulties, and we're not quite sure how some of them are happening, but we're looking to see just exactly what's going on. For example, when a report was run, and what would happen is that if the membership or the residential membership accounts were current, but the supplemental or common property assessments were delinquent, when the letters were generated, that was not reflected. The common property delinquency was reflected only if the membership was also delinquent. And so we're having to sort through that as well. So many people who had delinquent common property assessments, it showed up as a zero balance, which I'm sure they were happy to see. But the purpose of the confirmation letters is for us to identify errors and omissions and glitches, and that's what it has helped us to do. Some accounts, especially those who were on auto draft, this one is really puzzling. An individual's account might show that they were current on September the 25th, but that on September the 30th they were delinquent or owing. In other words, it appears that the system is billing prematurely, maybe by a couple of days. So we're having to figure out why is it doing that. On the collection of delinquencies, of course you know that we have hired Mr. Guillermo Guzman to assist us with the Member Relations Office. And he is helping us to revamp our collection system, our collection department. There are some 69 members who hold 119 accounts. These are severely delinquent, that meaning $500 or more. Collectively, these 69 members owe a total of $258,000. There's another 113 members who hold 228 accounts. They're delinquent in amounts that are less than $500, but collectively they owe $49,000. All told, we have 182 members holding 347 accounts who collectively owe $307,000. The common property assessments became delinquent after December the 30th of 2017. And as I was looking into this past week, I discovered that we have 448 members holding 704 accounts who are delinquent in the payment of their supplemental and also common property assessments to the tune of $70,000. That actually constitutes 33% of the accounts, 33% of the memberships that are now delinquent as of December the 30th. And we will be going out with delinquent notices this next week to let them know that.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about the bad debt people. We're talking about recent.
These are active accounts. So we will be notifying, and I suspect that when everyone is notified in October, November of the common property assessment, they look at it, and if they're like me, they'll put it on the desk and it gets covered up by other things, and so they haven't thought about it since then. And so come around December 30th, it becomes delinquent on the 1st of January. And I think we just simply have to notify them of this, and we'll see that recovered. So I've lost my place, I'm sorry, hold on just a moment. Okay, so that has to do with the collection of the delinquencies. Now, last week, Friday, I believe it was, that I sent to the board a draft of the future repair and replacement plan. The auditors have dinged us for that for the last couple of years, not that it had not been presented. So we have developed that, and we have put it before you. And I would ask you, perhaps it needs to go before the Finance Committee first, but I would ask you maybe to have a workshop so that we can discuss it in detail, and so that the board can make decisions. I hope it's useful to you. I think that a lot of work went into it by the staff, and so I hope it's useful, and I hope that we can make plans around it. On the matter of speed zone enforcement, our security chief, Matt Bland, has been in contact with Austin's Texas Department of Transportation. That's a difficult task in itself, just trying to get in touch with the right person in the bureaucracy. But he has contacted them. We've received some information that's going to be useful to us, but also in the transportation code, he has found that all that we really need to do is for the board to petition the Commissioner's Court and to ask them specifically what rules or laws or that we would want to have enforced in this subdivision, this what's called a private subdivision, the HOA. And so the Commissioner's Court can respond by setting the speed limits, and only that would be enforced on the floor. Only what is contained in the petition will be enforced in the private neighborhood, if you understand. So, so if we were to invite the sheriff in to enforce speed limits, we also need to tell him perhaps to enforce stop sign, running of stop signs. We may need to, there may be other things we would like to have them enforce, but it has to be specific in the petition what would carry into the HOA, if that's helpful. So that's our next step for the board to consider a petition. It says that the petition must specify the traffic rules that are sought to be extended to the board. A word about the wildlife management program. It has been a huge success. You have there a report from the wildlife management program, and it indicates the what has been harvested and the number of hunters that we have had. What I am most happy about is that in budgeting revenue for this program, I had anticipated some $55,000. To date, the program has brought in $98,500 since August the 1st, so quite successful in that respect. The financials are in front of you, the P&Ls that were provided by Mr. Galloway. I have also prepared for you, I finished yesterday evening, a little budget analysis. The long and the short of it is, budget-wise, we have generated revenue $58,000 more than we anticipated, and our expenses are $37,000 less than budget. And one last little note. I would like everyone, as you pass through the lobby, look to the wall where the mural is. Dr. Warren Thompson has put together a beautiful stained glass window. that he has donated to Dickman Hall and he's gonna do another one as well. And those windows will go on either side of that entry into the dining area. As you have to step up, there are these vacancies on either side of the doorway, and these are made to fill in those. They're beautiful, and we're very grateful to Dr. Thompson for having done that. It was very nice of him to do that. They're very beautiful windows. That's it for me.
There isn't anything in those windows that will be objected to by the Historical Society.
I cannot imagine. In fact, we did talk with Russell Knoll as he was designing these.
Okay, I want to be sure on that because that created problems before. Not that I think Russell was out of line. All right, we move on to committee reports. We ready for that? All right, Maria. I know it's you because you're already up.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. So in the short term for the airport committee, Mr. Sam Lark, has stepped down from our committee effective 1 January, and Joe, who is standing back there today, has stepped up offering to take his place. So what I'd like to ask the board is if they would consider Joe as a replacement for Sam. I did provide his bio here for you.
What's his last name?
Alakness. Did I say it right? Yeah, Alakness. Alackness.
Thank you.
Yes. And while those are being passed along, we are looking at having another open house for court membership sometime in March. The goal is to do it before everyone leaves so that we can once again bring out all the planes. The difference that we're going to do for this next open house is we are going to have an unintentional aerial demonstration. And what I mean by that is that it will just so happen that while we have this open house commencing, one of our pilots is going to need to go get gas somewhere. So he's going to have to take off. And then depending on his situation, he may have to land. And so we will have an area cordoned off so that individuals who so happen to be at our open house can stand in that area. And if we do have the pilot that needs to go get the gas, then we can definitely have people safe on the airfield while allowing that pilot to do what he needs to do. Otherwise, we'd have to do a 6-month request to the FAA to convert our airspace to allow for an aerial demonstration.
I don't think that's a problem.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to remind you that during your last open house, you made no accommodation for handicapped persons, so all of us who could not walk were left sitting and watching everybody else walk around. So I'm asking again, I wasn't the only one, I'm sure that there were several who could have been taken around by someone who could drive close to the airplanes or whatever. So please consider that.
Yes, ma'am, we are going to consider that, but also taking into account that we're now going to be allowing a pilot to take off and land while we have individuals on the airfield is also something we've got to take into account as well.
I don't want to argue that.
Yes, ma'am. Nope, I got it. So it's being taken under consideration. And then in April, we are going to have another opportunity for pilots to fly in, see the airfield, ask us questions like we did in December right after the snow came. So this is kind of a revival for us since we had the snow give us a little bit of a glitch there. So someone will report on that as that does happen if I'm not here to do that. Are there any questions from anyone? Okay, great. Thank you.
On the replacement for Sam Lark. We would typically ask that you give us a week for, a month for this, but people on the airport committee have certain requirements that we don't generally have in the total membership. So unless any board member has a problem with this, we can tell you after the executive session, we can vote on this, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Any problem? Joe, did you have anything to say back there? Just like a pilot. Okay, we will do this discussion just because we don't have time to read it right now. Thank you. Architectural, are they still using you?
Unfortunately.
Okay.
It's been quiet. It's just the start of the year. We approved 6 permits. We had a complaint from a neighbor against another neighbor about discharging water, and she was afraid it was caustic. She didn't know what it was. So we sent Chris down to investigate. It is nothing more than discharged water from his heat pump. Caused an uproar between the neighbors naturally, but so now it's plain water, nothing to worry about, go in peace. Simple as that. I don't know. Not my problem. And that's about it.
Thank you, Sharon. The report shouldn't be your problem either, but
Well,
I don't.
it is what it is.
We'll never mind.
Okay.
I did not write. It's my fault. The equestrian committee didn't get written in. Do we have someone from that committee? Thank you. Would you come forward?
Okay. Linda O'Brien, sorry, from the Equine Committee. We have some good news and bad news. Let's start with the good news. Our bylaws are almost done. We have a new constitution, a new waiting list for people applying for stalls, a new application, a new waiver for the fort and for the club. And we are meeting this coming Monday to review all of this with the Equine Committee. We've already met. And to approve it, and then send it on to the horse club to approve it. Hopefully they will approve it. We have been doing some major cleaning, chipping of paint. We're starting to paint, removal of growth along the fence lines, removal of historic cobwebs from the 17-foot ceilings running down the aisle. Now, we have approval of that from the Historical Society. Let's see, what else? We have lots of fresh or aged poop available for those for the spring. And we'd love to have you come get it and take it away. With all of these new documents, we're trying to, if we're going to, we had to meet for the bylaws. So we wanted to get everything straightened out all at the same time. And we're hoping to have the administration of the horse club be a bit more transparent to all its members. That's the bottom line. The bad news, the wildlife management thing was very successful for the hunters. It has been a bit frustrating for the horse club. 2 of us have been out on horseback. We were told that from the north side of Scales, there'd be no one hunting. Everyone's hunting on the south side, is that correct? The side of Scales that where the horse club is, that side would be open. And we ran into hunters and signs on 2 occasions where they were hunting in that area, which is a little disconcerting when you're on horseback. So I realize that that all this money is great, but I think the communication level has been a little weak about where people actually are. I mean, you go down to the gate and ask, and they tell you, but I'm not sure they have the right answers either. So that was one issue. And it's important because there's a lot of winter Texans here, besides the horse people, who want to use some of that land to walk and whatever. The second one is the perimeter fences. We have repaired our fences in the middle, and the perimeter fences, I know you're aware of this, so I'm not going to beleaguer it, but I just want to point out that there's liability involved, especially to the fort, if we have animals getting out or children getting in, because the spot over by the apartments is really kind of not great. So that's just something else. And the other thing was rain gutters on the 90 side of the barn. Those were never replaced after the last big hailstorm. The other side were replaced, and they really need some help. So we just like to point that out and hope that something can happen with that. And that's it.
Before you go, I'm a little confused. The equestrian committee is a board committee,
Correct.
and the horse club reports to the equestrian committee, which reports to the board. Whether or not the horse club approves the bylaws is more or less insignificant in the sense that, yes, we want them to agree with the equestrian committee, but no, we don't want them holding things up so that we move forward, if you understand what I'm saying.
I understand exactly what you're saying, but that's not the way we understood it. So I hope you can clarify that. We were under the impression that the equine committee was there to recommend to the horse club these changes, and that the horse club would meet to approve that. Is that not correct?
That's correct, but it still the bylaws still have to be approved by the board.
Absolutely.
So the committee looks at it, the club looks at it, and then it comes to the board of directors for approval.
So you're saying the club looks at it, but the club doesn't vote on it?
No, well, I'm sure that they can
They
vote
can
on
vote on it if they want
Yeah,
to, but the thing is that they are not in charge of the board committee. The board committee wants the equestrian to report to us. And yes, I'd like the horse committee to be in line with you, but if we have a disagreement, the equestrian committee is going to win.
You're talking our group that we're meeting with, the 5 members that were appointed by the board.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so if we come to terms with these bylaws on Monday night, then we just send that information, those documents back to you, and then we talk to the board, that we just let the club know.
Who's we?
The equine committee then if we approve this on Monday, we let you know.
Yeah, let me help you just try to make it clear. You were working on the bylaws of the horse club.
Correct.
As it exists today. You're working on those bylaws, you're recommending changes for that. That should then go back to the horse club, and they should perhaps make changes also and kick it back to you. You can go back and forth until both groups agree. Then it comes to the board of directors for final approval.
Okay, I think that's what we were trying to do. I just
Yeah, I
got a
think
little
so.
confused about, they don't need to vote. The club itself does not need to vote.
It would be nice if they did,
Yeah.
but if they're not going to hold it up. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll have something for you by the 29th next week.
You're busy with me.
Okay.
Did you have something to add?
Who can anyone use the horse club, or is it just for members?
You can make application to become a member.
Okay, so do you have to live on the fort?
You have, well, right now it's being suggested in the bylaws, you must be a voting member.
But our dues fix
I'm sorry?
But our dues fix the outside fences and the repair on the barns. That we can't use them
The
as
dues,
our member.
the fort has a certain
That comes
thing.
from us, the members.
No, not the.
Excuse me, it's not yours to take her question.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
Now, your question is,
She was saying that association needs to fix the fences, okay?
okay.
Where's that money come from?
All right. The association is responsible for the upkeep of the fort itself. The external fence is ours to upkeep. We try very hard to keep the grounds looking beautiful, and that what do you want to call it? That fence is our problem.
But we don't get to use it unless we're their members, but we have to upkeep. That's the only thing I wanted to.
I'm still having trouble because if you're on the outside of the fence, which you are, and I am, even though I don't have a horse, I want it to look good. I do not want the horse club to decide where my fence goes since it's on fort property. Does anybody else have a comment on this?
Can I make a comment? The fort owns the building, the
Yes,
property.
the fort owns the property as a whole.
But it's limited to who gets to use the property.
It's open to any member, a voting member of the association can apply and join the horse club. And then they're a member of the horse club and can use it. It's kind of like maybe the golf course. You may not be a golfer, but the fort maintains it, but it's available to any member to use, but there's a fee charged to use it. Then we run into the same thing at the gun club. You gotta be a member of the gun club, and there's been some adjustments made on that too.
But they upkeep their fences there. We don't, right?
131 is not secured at all. At all.
That's what I'm
Miss
saying.
Ann has weeds behind hers so people can't walk through the fence. There is no fence on 131.
No, I'm talking about the gun.
All right. Let's not do that.
About fences.
Let's not do that.
Also, keep in mind, the horse club is paying us a rental fee every month,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yes.
That's me.
So,
Did
we
you
get
understand
some
that?
financial benefit from it.
No, I mean, did you understand that the horse club does pay a fee, a monthly fee, so that helps to support the
And I pay a
fence?
monthly fee to support the fence behind my house, and I don't have.
This is about the horse club.
Right, she's talking about repairing the fence.
I'm really questioning the horse,
Look,
the property there, really, right now. We could
Let's
go all
not
day talking about.
talk to each other. If you have a comment, I need to recognize you and let you speak. At this point, the equestrian club as a board club organization is new, and we're trying very hard to get it all put together. I think it's really important that we understand that the fort is responsible for its own property, and the horse club is common property. On the other hand, there isn't any reason. Well, I guess you could apply to be a member of the horse club if you wanted to, even though you didn't have a horse. I don't know what would happen, but you could see. So they don't keep you from doing that, I don't think. Once again, this is the kind of thing where we're working as hard as we can to keep track of everything, and the equestrian club is new. So I appreciate your work, I really do. And anybody else have a comment? I think they want me to shut up. Okay. Do we have a finance advisory committee?
Yeah, we do. One thing we've had the finance committee members have all been out of town, so we didn't meet before the board meeting. However, I included in your packets a preliminary draft of the workshop that they want to present. However, it won't be in January because we, again, have people out of town. They're looking for a date in February, and we haven't settled on that yet. However, they did also do a compilation of the survey, and it was kind of interesting to see what the association members thought were the most important things on the fort. And I'm going to read like the top 10 or so, and just to let you know, and the bottom 5. Top 10 included the appearance of the fort, the RV park, cost of living assessments and fees. Number 4 was security. 5 was the swim park. 6 was actually it was kind of tied with the 18-hole golf course and the maintenance of the historical buildings. Quality of services and amenities, preservation of historical heritage, post theater, and hiking trails, and one more, Fort Clark Days. As far as of least importance would be down into gun range, teen center, baseball field, movie night. Now those just are the blue most importance. So this material has been given to the board. Now that we have financial reports and we have the draft of the future repairs and replacement of common property from Mr. Lawrence, then these will be sent to the Finance Advisory Committee this week so they can look them over. And then we will be setting another meeting.
Any questions?
I just have a couple of brief comments. As Sandy knows, this isn't the place or time to argue, but I do have concerns with the Finance Committee taking over this planning project. But the other thing that with your presentation that caused me some curiosity is, although it's a workshop to develop plans and get suggestions, I'm sure it's the layout here is planning workshop 101, and that's nothing wrong with that, that's fine, but it appears that there's already a center core plan put together in here for doing a housing development for luxury homes. Some of it involves interviewing and selecting developers, and some were dated that was to be done by October 1st, 2017, which would mean it's already done. Other things involving that were, one date is January 15th, so that would mean that's already done. So I'm wondering, is the committee already moving forward and selecting a developer and planning and then identifying land to develop?
Of course not. They know they have to have board approval before they can go anywhere. All this is the purpose of the workshop, is to present what the Finance Advisory Committee recommends to the board. They have no authority whatsoever to do anything on their own.
But
So
they have a plan.
at this workshop, they will be asking the board how they feel about each of these ideas that they have. And that time, you can certainly let them know exactly how you feel about their ideas. That's all they want to do at this point, is present ideas. And as I've said in the past, it's really hard to review your financials if you don't know where you're going. So they are getting all the financials that the board is getting. All that is given to them as soon as we have it. They didn't get it any sooner than we did, and we just got them as well. They are aware of the problems and the glitches that we're having with our financial systems, and they're trying to be very patient while we fix them so they can have accurate information. You can't do anything with inaccurate information. So I know you and I disagree on this, but I think that it's only fair to let the Finance Advisory Committee give you their spiel, and then at that point, if you don't like it, you can certainly tell them.
It's going to be a presentation in
Yes.
favor of doing the development. In other words, sort of similar to the one Brennan did for Main Street in Practicville, the one that was going to produce 3,000 cars a weekend there.
I have no idea. All they're going to do is give you their idea. We set this up for these people who have some financial background to take a look at some ideas and present them to the board.
The last thing I have, Sandy, and thank you for all that,
Sure.
is previously when you were going to have this 8 hours of meetings for us to attend, You said that the public or the members were welcome, of course,
Yes.
which is correct and proper way to do it, but that they were not, would not be able to participate. Based on the fact that the survey that you quoted only had 40 responses, do you think that maybe they will be able to participate or offer their opinions?
The reason they were trying to do this as a introduction to the board of what they wanted to do. We can, I can recommend to them that we have a question and answer period after they do their presentation.
That would be great, thank you.
I actually think that's their intent anyway, so thank you, Dan.
Can I remind you, the finance committee was your idea?
I would remind you that the stringent controls in selecting the members was not my idea.
I was just trying to get the two of them to stop fighting. But,
I don't think we're fighting, we just have a diversity of opinions.
okay. I can't use my unwise humor with this going on. Don't respond.
You can do whatever you want, but I cannot comment on it.
Clearly you have. All right. We'll go to the golf committee.
Good morning, Debbie Isaacs, Golf Committee. We did have our meeting last week, and mostly what we talked about was our Los Morris tournament, and also setting up our tournaments for 2018. I do have entry blanks and our need to know for entering the golf tournament Los Morris. Can y'all put those up at the front office, please? I also have our flyer, which is on Facebook already, and it will be done at the golf course, and I hope we can get these in the Adult Center, RV Park, and the front office also. I also have some donation forms. We also do give scholarships to the high school seniors at Brackettville High School. I would really like to see us increase those scholarships. At the present, we give 3 $500 scholarships. If you go to the doctor or something, and then the other money that we have actually goes back into the golf course. Our big plan for this coming year is to take some of the money we have earned through putting on the tournaments and putting sod on a spot on the golf course, hole number 9. Right there where the rock is, we plan to put sod there and then seed and put dirt down below it so we don't injure ourselves or our clubs and stuff on that particular part. We also want to try to level up our tee boxes, which are everywhere. So we do want to do that with some of the money we've earned. So if anybody's got somebody that they could even go out and help get some donations, that money will be spent on the golf course and scholarships. So here's some forms for that also. The men's club tried to have a meeting this past week, but it just happened the day they had it planned. It was one of the coldest days, and 2 of the guys that come from Rock Springs over here and play every week and lots of weekends couldn't make it. So I don't know what their plans are, but if anybody's interested in reviving the men's club, I hope to have information on that, and it will be posted on the Fort Clark Golf Facebook page. Let's see. We did set our tournaments. We have an end of the month tournament the last Saturday of every month. It don't make a difference if it's the 3rd Saturday, 4th Saturday, or whatever. The last Saturday of every month we have a end of the month tournament. There's going to be a tournament on February the 10th, which will be strictly a putting contest. So you don't have to golf. All you have to do is putt. And anybody, you don't have to be a member of the golf course. We can help you find putters, but if you would like to do that, that's $10. And all of it is payback on that, or candy or something related to Valentine's Day. We've got our Memorial Day tournament, which will be 5/28. That's what we call our red, white, and blue tournament. Details to come. July the 4th. The game itself is to be determined, but it will be July 4th. September the 3rd, that's our Labor Day tournament. October the 27th is in with our end of the month Halloween tournament. November the 10th is our Thanksgiving tournament, which we call our turkey shoot tournament. We actually give turkeys away. We buy turkeys and give to certain past prizes on that tournament. And then December the 8th is our Kris Kringle tournament, which that's kind of our last tournament of the year. So those are our dates right now. There will be some more tournaments as people come in and ask us to help them. We do charge them a fee that does go into our golf course fund also when we collect money by helping other people put on tournaments.
What is the date of the Los Morris tournament?
The Los Morris tournament is April the 6th, 7th, and 8th. The 6th is a practice a day, and the tournament itself is the 7th and the 8th.
Putting contest is when?
It is February the 10th. Mm-hmm. Any more questions?
Yeah, Debbie, I have one. You have the donation page. Are we talking about donations from businesses?
From businesses, yes.
Is there someone coordinating that so the same businesses don't get?
I do have that, and we've already started a list of who's starting to hit certain businesses, so we do like to keep up with that.
So rather than just taking a sheet and looking for a business,
please give me
yeah.
Please give me a call, and I'll let you know if somebody's already hit that business up.
Okay. Do you have any helpers? It seems like you're doing all the work.
No comment. I would take some help, whatever. I've got a lot of these things that need to be stapled together on these entry blanks. I started it, but I've still got labels to make to send to all the golf
So
courses.
you're doing all the pretty stuff too. Okay. I'm going to accept the question.
I have a
Wait a minute, I see you. When I have to recognize you, you have to understand that, please. Now, will you stand?
Would I stand?
Yes, please.
Nobody else is standing.
I apologize.
Have you, the golf committee with the board, have any plans for addressing the cart paths?
We actually have, that is fixed, the asphalt's supposed to be ordered just as soon as we can get it done. The golf committee is gonna pay for half of the load, and the fourth's gonna pay the other half. That's supposed to be happening pretty soon.
May I ask who's gonna apply it?
I'm assuming the,
When we last spoke, you will remember that our maintenance crew, in cooperation with your volunteers.
Cures was supposed to do that. And then I don't know, but MUD does have some equipment too. They helped us with the last one. I don't know if we're gonna need them. But Randy
Step up, I'm sure.
has always said if we need his help, he would be there to help us with the MUD department.
So there's no idea when that might
The
happen?
purchase has already been made.
Okay, the purchase has been made. I need to know my half of that purchase.
Gladly.
Thank you.
Well, not my purchase, but the golf course's purchase. Let me clarify, please. The entry fee for the Los Morris is $150, and that pretty much includes all their fees. We are really trying to rebuild this Los Morris tournament. The golf committee is actually gonna, as we get entries in here, then we're gonna try to guarantee a certain amount of money for the payout. Believe me, you guys aren't paying anything as far as money to this. We've also gonna buy the whole insurance again, and Brown Chevrolet over in Del Rio is again gonna sponsor a car. So we did give those away 2 years ago, and it was just good publicity. Just get down to some serious business. We had 12 days in the month of December that were not suitable to play golf. We had 2 or 3 people come in and play, but our figures were really down for the month of December. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of this right now, but On the monthly comparison, we were from November to December, 137 players on the course down. Richard's already received his reports, so I'm not going to bore you with all the other details that I normally give here. But we were down, and again, we're probably going to be down in January also because of the cold and the wet we've had so far. Thank you.
Debbie, I wasn't picking on you. I can't see you back there.
I don't know who you're talking to.
I'm sorry, I said Debbie.
Deborah Joe.
Thank you.
She's yanking his chain.
Consider it yanked. I'm sorry, I was talking to Debbie and I missed Deborah Joe. I'll get it right eventually. All right, Preservation Committee.
Morning, everybody. As Dan has advised the people here, this will be my last meeting. I want to thank the board for putting up with me. We've accomplished quite a bit since I've been on the committees from 2012. The project we just finished up was the restrooms in the service club, and out of the 4 stalls that are in the restrooms in the service club, three of them had rotted floors, which we found. We estimated the job to be $1,500. It wound up being $1,820 because David called me over and we looked at the commodes and they were pretty well clogged up with calcium, and so I told him to go ahead and replace them. Our next project will start this month will be both ends of Seminole Hall, doing all the windows on the east and the west end, and David Mann will be doing that. And the reason I stepped down is because I got health problems, and I don't know how much longer. I don't know how much of my time it's going to take, but I appreciated being on the committee. As far as Seminole Hall, once we get the east and the west end done, when we do the back end, the windows on the back end, basically, in my opinion, we just about went through every building on this fort, and the maintenance, if we keep it up with painting, should be quite a bit less than what it has been in the past. You guys have a great day, and if you got prayers, say them for me.
Garland, did you have an actual cost on the restrooms after all that?
Did I have what now?
An actual cost?
It was $1,820. Rather than 15, and the only reason was $1,820 because David called me over and I authorized to put in 40.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to know how much over it went. It wasn't that serious then.
No.
Okay.
But we did find really bad rotted wood, and we're lucky
No
somebody didn't
argument.
find
I saw it. I think. Do we have a couple more people that want to talk? Did you have something to say to?
Thank you, Colin. Thanks for all your service there.
Thanks, Garland.
You guys have a great day.
See, that was spontaneous and they appreciate you. Do we have recycling? Sorry, Debbie.
Can I say something? We had a member step up to the plate, and he's got some free time on his own expense. He's gonna help trim up some of the mesquites on the golf course and make trees out of them instead of bushes that catch your ball. I would like to recognize that particular member for stepping up to the plate. So, and that is David Mann. He's gonna bring some of his crew over. We talked to Mr. Lawrence the other day, and he's coordinating with the golf course maintenance and Philip. So a volunteer stepping up at his own expense to do this, I think is great on his part.
Please don't take away my tree.
I don't know which tree's yours, but we'll mark it. Let me know which one it is. No, this is in the actual fairways that he's gonna do this.
It's not my tree's not out there then, okay. The one, I've got turkeys roosting on there. I don't want you taking it away. I'm sorry, that was, that was out of line. All right. Go ahead.
Recycling. Recycling sent a load this past week and a half.
What's that?
I mean, sorry, I've been dealing with the flu. I'm not responsible for dates and times anymore. We sent a load, 40 gaylords and 2 big bales of plastic. And when I say big, they were huge. I think everybody here knows about the very successful cardboard shipment that brought in $5,900 plus. Some reminders, and spread the word, please, outside this meeting. 1, no dirty Kleenex in mixed paper, especially during flu season. That's just plain gross, and it's happening all the time. That kind of thing just isn't recyclable. Like San Antonio is doing spots on all the TV stations. Please don't put your dirty diapers in recycling. Well, dirty Kleenex fits right the same thing. Also, our carton program, the orange juice, milk, etc. cartons, they're pressed board with plastic coating. They do not go in mixed paper no matter what. There is a special area for cartons. If you can't find a mesh bag there, put them in the milk crates that are on the floor, but don't put them in mixed paper. That's very, very crucial. It's not recyclable with mixed paper. Bill, anything else I should be?
No, just make sure that nothing has a top on it.
Yes.
Whatever you're bringing that has a
Yes.
top.
If it has a screw-off top, throw the top away.
What number of plastics would you do?
1 and 2. 1 and 2. There are lots of 5s out there, Mary, a lot of them, but we cannot do them. Yes, you have to. And the other thing, watch, especially medicine bottles, those kind of orangey ones. Those are quite frequently number 5s. And Arizona iced tea is the other guilty party on number 5. Why, I don't know, but we separate our number 2 into colored, and that includes white. White is a color because they have to put colored and natural. In other words, if you can see, it's opaque, like a milk carton or milk jug or water jug, that's number 2 natural. And if it has a label on it, but if you look at the bottom and you can see through it, it's natural. The labels come off in processing. Don't put them in with the colored. Any questions from anybody about where what goes?
Yeah, we need more volunteers.
That's the truth. Every time I get 2, I lose 1. Or maybe sometimes I lose 3. I still have 1 slot open next Saturday from 10 to 12, if anybody's willing to volunteer. Otherwise, I know I'll be sitting up there. That's what happens. So, no questions? Good.
Okay, thank you. And you all will be bringing your stuff, right? Actually, it's not very difficult to volunteer. Mostly what you need to do is keep people from putting things in the wrong place, mainly. On the search and certification, am I going to get the same person back?
Yes.
I'll remind you that the drawing for placement on the ballots is in the action items, so we will not be doing that in her report.
I think really the search and certification committee, with the exception of doing the envelope counting and should we say the clerical chores, has pretty much done its job. We have, I can tell you, 8 candidates for the board. And there's a position draw. Apparently, Mr. Sullivan has arranged for that?
Yes.
Okay, so did I. I was not told that we were supposed to do it.
Got 3 people doing it.
I think the board secretary is.
So I hear.
Anyway, I will, in alphabetical order, read the list of candidates. Ann Barron, Sandy Hagan, John Hope, Susan Hughes, Deborah Isaacs, Helena McBride, Maria Perkins, and Patricia Stephenson. If any of you are here, stand up. Anybody? And we will be meeting again on the 3rd. No, I take that back. It will be the 5th. The committee will meet to fold ballots and enclosures and count envelopes to be sure that the envelope count matches the membership count.
Do you need volunteers for that, or is it only?
That's the certification committee.
Can only do that.
Right. The mailing committee, which meets 2 days later, is the certification committee plus, or to include 2 representatives from each candidate.
No, I need to correct you, Judy. The mailing committee is the board secretary and 2 representatives from each candidate. That's it. The search and certification committee is not part of the mailing committee.
Unless they're picked by a.
Yes. If the candidate picks them, then it's certainly
Yeah.
fine.
What day and what time is that?
The mailing?
Yeah.
The mailing date is, I have a comment, and that was set by the search and certification committee is February 7th.
That's correct.
However, that might need to be adjusted, because that was done, I believe, before or without their realizing that the effective date for the mailing list to eligible voters of the association has to be January 30th or later. And so the question is, once that list is put together and compiled, will the staff have time to be ready to do the mailing February 7th, or are they going to need a few extra days?
That should be all right.
Should be okay? Give you a week. And then it'll be February 7th.
What time?
9 a.m.
Yeah, it's early morning, because on mailing day, we want to have those ballots at the post office by 3 p.m. so they go out the exact same day.
Correct.
Myrna? The rec committee.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do you want a report from the recreation committee?
I didn't know we had an active one.
Well, we are having 2 events in February. On,
Absolutely, thank you.
do you want to know what they are? Okay. On February 5th, Monday, 7 o'clock at the Service Center, we were going to have a presentation by Mary Ellen Miner on the outback in Australia. There will be coffee, cake, and stuff like that afterwards. And on February 12th, another Monday, we are having at the RV park at 12 o'clock in the afternoon a chili cook-off. And we need chili cookers. We need people to come out there and cook up some stuff, heat up the thing a little bit. But it's going to be 12 o'clock, the 12th of February, $6 a person. There's going to be coffee, soda, drinks, etc. So if we really need some people to come out there and cook. When you get a sign-up sheet back there if anybody wants to put their name down.
Do you have a entry fee?
Huh?
No entry fee.
No.
What's the date of the chili cook-off?
Just a minute. Mr. Tischler, I'm not taking a chance on the first names again here. In the Tischler family. I am thrilled that you're going to go ahead with this. I had not been getting a report, so I could asking for one. So I am thrilled that you're back at it.
I just got back. There'll be pole dancing also.
I'll be out for that.
Okay.
Mr. Tischler, would you give me the information I'll put in the dispatch so that gets out?
Caroline's got it.
Good.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Tischler, is there an amount of chili that needs, can we do a quart, a gallon, of what?
recommended like a crock pot.
A gallon.
Yeah.
A gallon.
Like a gallon,
Yeah.
okay. Not a roaster foot.
We can use cornbread too if nobody wants to cook chili.
Okay. Does the chili cooker also provide cornbread?
If you care to, you can if you want.
Excuse me. If you have questions like these, they'll be in the dispatch, okay? And also, I need to avoid the cross-talking. Thank you. And thank you for being back.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure I don't have any questions more for, I'm so excited about recreation. Is there, no, I'll get that answered somewhere else. All right, I am ready for the community council. Who do we have? Hi.
I'm Lisa Vale. Community Council met last week and the new constitution bylaws were approved. New officers were voted in. President, Lisa Vale. Vice President, Dennis Leff. Secretary, Kathy Warren. And Treasurer, Allison Ellison. Watkinson. I know, Allison Ellison. I have an old friend by that name, sorry. Move this, so I don't know what all information you want. There is
That's what you're going to give us. You might tell us anything that you have toward Fort Clark Days or anything new on that.
I do not have anything new on that. I do know they have over 650 students coming for the Friday, but I haven't heard anything. So I
Okay, then your people need to keep you informed. I'm sorry I have not met you before. Therefore, you must be kind of new, or
yes.
They chased you down and said, she's new, she won't know how much work it is, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well,
I went for one thing and left the president.
right. I think the board would like to welcome you. I know I would. If you have any other information, please give it to us.
Okay, we're set for February 3rd, meet the candidates forum for a question and answer period and this may have been said before, but since I was learning last week, I don't know if I missed that.
Go ahead.
It's February 3rd, it's going to be at 9 o'clock at the Post Theater. We will be posting the details to that this coming week.
9 o'clock, you said.
9.
I thought we were going for 10.
We were going for 10, that was changed because of, since we have 8 candidates. And we have to be out by noon because of other things, so we wanted to allow extra time.
Good.
The only other thing I have to say is that we just discussed having a planning meeting going forward to see about how we can generate more volunteers in the community and fundraising volunteers and everything.
Bingo.
That's all I have.
Thank you for stepping up to help with the community council, and we need a lot of our newer members that are coming in here to get involved in that. They'll learn a lot about the operation of the fort there.
Just a minute. Go ahead, Jan.
I think Mary Frances brought up at the community council meeting about a question and answer for the county election.
And that was deferred to, you were going to check.
That was deferred to the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
The Kitty County Chamber of Commerce is gonna work on that. Well, our meeting was canceled for January because of the weather, and it was icy that day, so we didn't ask people to travel. So you'll get a report on that.
Okay. It'll be in the dispatch or something like that?
Sure.
Why not?
Why not? He's our president.
For the community?
Huh? Not yet? Oh.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. Lisa, I'm sorry. You need to correct me, because I will probably get it wrong again, as the Tishlers will know.
I'll answer the discussion thing, so.
Thank you. All right. Were there more questions? Okay. We had looked at 2 bids, and we're excited because we got 2 bids for ballot counting by auditing firms, or firms that would be appropriate to use to count ballots. One of them, is it Junfin Valley?
Yes, it's Sonia Valdez.
Okay, so these should be reversed. Okay. You and Monique went to check her out?
We did. We actually we did a little bit of a search to see about the background. She is in good standing with the licensing authority. She's in good standing with the licensing authority for CPA. I did go and visit with her, and I was very impressed. She has been in practice, I think, 10 years come May of this year. She's one of 3 CPAs in Eagle Pass. She has a very successful firm. She's solo, but she has 4 employees. And what I saw, that they were very, very busy. We did discuss all of the ins and outs of this process, and she is raring to go. I was very impressed by her. She has a master's degree from the Texas A&M accounting program there. Our auditor, I asked him about her as well. He did not know her specifically, but did say that the A&M program is stellar. So I'm recommending that we go forward with her.
I would need a motion to accept her bid.
We'll move that we accept the bid from the Valdez accounting firm to handle the ballot returns for this election.
All right. Any discussion? Any further discussion? All in favor? Do you want to read this resolution? Excuse me, I'll
Sure.
announce it, and I just want to make sure. We have a need for a resolution in our old bylaws because it doesn't allow us at this point to do what is required by state law. So
Correct.
again, we have a resolution, and Dan is going to read that.
Yeah, I can speak to it. A record date is as it applies to HOAs and elections, is the date, the effective date.
I'm sorry, please be quiet.
The effective date for determining eligible voters for the election and the membership. That date by law cannot be any earlier than 60 days prior to the date of the election, which would be considered to be the date of our annual meeting. This year it's March 31st, so the record date would have to be January 30th or later. It can be later, but it cannot be any earlier than that. In order to establish that record date, the board of directors can do that. They have to be in compliance with the law, but they need authorization from their governing documents to set that record date. And this resolution simply does that. It authorizes the board of directors to set the record date in compliance with law for the eligible voter list for the memberships. It's kind of a housekeeping situation. We've been going on the basis of the old standard here. You know, it's always been done that way, and that's not the way it's supposed to be done. So this will clear that up and put us in good standing with Texas statutes. And so, do you want me to read the resolution? I suppose I could. A resolution to establish a set record date for membership list of the Fort Clark Springs Association, Inc., a Texas nonprofit corporation. It is hereby resolved that the bylaws for Fort Clark Springs Homeowners Association of record in Kinney County, Texas be amended as follows. The Fort Clark Springs Homeowners Association Board of Directors is hereby authorized to set a record date in compliance with Texas law to establish a membership list of members eligible to vote in association elections. Passed and approved by the Board of Directors of the Fort Clark Springs Association, Inc., acting in regular session this blank day of blank 2018, which if we do it would be the 20th day of January 2018, and signed by the board.
Do you want to make a motion then?
I make a motion that this resolution be passed and then duly recorded in Kinney County.
I'll second that.
Under discussion, I have a question. Is this something then that we can put in the new bylaws, or as just part of the bylaws, or do we need to have a resolution again?
No, I would suggest that you, when you do the new bylaws, a section dealing with the election, that you include
this
in, and it doesn't have to be included as a resolution, it's just the authorization authorizing, sure.
Yeah, I understand why it's a resolution now. I just want to be sure if we could put it in as.
You're absolutely correct, Martin.
All right.
Slap it in there.
I like being correct.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. I'll turn it over to the president.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Excuse me. All right. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay. The exciting part now. Ballot placement, and I believe our secretary has this all figured out.
I've got it covered, hopefully. Okay, I'd like to ask the candidates that are in attendance to step forward to the table. Please. Too late to back out now.
Is there a question back there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Patricia Hope, and John Hope is working today and asked if I could come.
Yes, you may.
Do the drawing on his behalf.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'd like to welcome all of you and thank you for volunteering to expend your time and energy in service of the association. Appreciate it. And can we give them all another hand? Thank you. The way that we're going to do this, I have some playing cards here, 1 through 8.
Excuse me.
And you would draw.
May I ask that they turn and introduce themselves to the audience, because there are people here that they don't even know each other. So.
That's a good idea, yes. Starting with Ann Barron on the left.
I'm Ann Barron.
And Marie.
My name is Maria Perkins.
I'm Nora Susan Hughes.
And I'm Helena McBride.
Patricia Stephenson, no matter what the paper said.
Sandy Hagan.
Debbie Isaacs, Deborah Isaacs.
And I am not John Hope, but I am his other half. I'm Trish.
Okay, thank you. What I'm going to do is just slightly different than what's been done in the past. I've got 8 playing cards here, 1 through 8. And you draw these out to determine what order you will choose in, because that can make a difference sometimes whether you get to pick out of the hat first, second, third, or whatever. And so I thought this was a way that we don't play any favorites and we don't limit people with their last name, letters, and all that stuff. Then after determining that, you'll draw out of the hat, and anyone that wants to is welcome to look at all the pieces of paper and make sure there's 8 of them in there. So with that, I'm going to put down the microphone.
Is the dealer going to shuffle the deck? Say, Dan, is the dealer going to shuffle the deck? There you go.
Daddy always said, trust everybody, but always cut the correct. I'm gonna let you all choose if you can just pick what the action and move down to them, please.
Keep in mind, what you're doing now is choosing when you reach into the hat, not your place on the ballot.
Okay.
Did everybody get one?
Who's got the ace? Okay, you get to choose first. You want to check the...
I checked them, there's 8 of them in here.
Does anybody else want to check them to make sure?
Anybody else doesn't
I have
trust
no
me?
trust issues.
And believe I assume you're gonna make two tracks. Who gets one?
Oh, look at there.
Tell us.
One.
Oh, one.
There's that.
Give your name and the number.
You recording?
I am.
Okay, who has the two?
Bill, give their name and number when they draw.
Susan Hughes, drew number 1.
Okay, thank you.
Maria Perkins,
Wait,
drew...
wait.
Oh, you just want to draw first?
No, I'm talking about Debbie, wait, please.
Oh, so you got 3.
Maria?
Maria Perkins, number 7.
Oh.
Debbie Isaacs drew a number.
Is it a 6 or a 9?
6.
Oh, not 9.
I think.
Yeah, we don't have any money.
Take your pick.
Come on, I just said there are no trust issues.
Ann Barron, number 3.
I'm number 5.
Wait, we have number 5 up here
Thank you.
first.
Hello, how are you?
John?
Mrs. Jones.
Okay. Number 4. John Hope, number 4. Sandy Hagan has number 5.
That's the number I had.
Mrs. Stephenson.
Got it. Good job, Bill.
Drew number 2. And last but not least, you get the last. One left. See, there's no more left, okay?
8 is 8.
Number 8, Alina McBride. Yes, sir.
Do we want Monique to read these out? If you need, I'm going to do something unusual. I'm going to take a 5-minute bathroom break right after these get announced.
Just quickly, I want to again thank you all, especially for coming today. I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.
I'm sure that everybody would be interested. Go ahead.
Okay, so the first placement on the ballot is Susan Hughes. Number 2 is Patricia Stephenson. Number 3 is Ann Barron. Oh, no, this is, yeah. Number 3 is, start over, okay. Number 1 is Susan Hughes. Number 2 is Patricia Stephenson. Number 3 is Ann Barron. Number 4 is John Hope. Number 5 is Sandra Hagan. Number 6, Debbie Isaacs. Number 7, Maria Perkins. Number 8, Helena McBride.
Okay, take a quickie because I'm going to bring us right back in. Yes,
How many people are we voting?
3. 3 out of those 8. The last time we voted for 3, we had 4 on the ballot. So this is really nice.
Well,
I'm on it, I'm meeting it by 5 minutes. If you don't need to go, please don't.
No, I still think about
it. 7 o'clock, February 5th. You missed the mark?
That's what I always do. Hopefully we'll have a chance.
You missed one last night.
She had was for half an hour. Mary Ellen had a presentation at the Irene Kitchen. Just a half an hour. Did you see it? I wish I had somebody to go. I think it will take care of it today, but the sun comes out maybe. Welcome back to paradise.
We brought him down. It was right on our buttons last year. So infectious or always Yeah.
Hey, Bill? On that reservoir, okay, in there it says to the effect about reviewing it for should not
We could do that, I guess, but if the Texas law changes, let's say they change the sign.
I know what you're saying, but then it's pretty ambiguous though when you say it.
Well, the law says what? When you say no, but no,
Yeah, but which law is what I'm trying to say. When you just say the law.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Somebody's gonna come up with that at some time.
Well, we could.
Just consider it.
It may also
But that's, to me, that was really ambiguous. We gave you a bad time. Good natured
I know it's everybody, but you get on that. I wouldn't typically do that, but when you have a couple of board members that need to go, you kind of have to let it happen. Quit drinking so much coffee. I'm just kidding. Don't answer everything I say. Oh, I love coffee. I wouldn't quit. All right. Thank you for all of that. I am so pleased that there are 8 people running because, as I said to somebody, there were only 4 of us running when there were 3 last time. So this is wonderful. Please don't make me talk over you. Thank you. We're moving on to considering the appointment to the Architectural Committee of Rick Myers. Rick Myers is from Unit 27. Do we have any discussion on this?
Well, what has been brought up, that there's a bit of a problem because he's from Unit 27, as Myrna said, and we already have 2 members on the Architectural Committee that are from Unit 27, and it takes 3 to make a quorum. So we would have a committee that would have a quorum with all members from the same unit. And so it's a matter of how the rest of the board feels about that, and that's probably not a real good thing, but we'll have to see what else we can do.
Okay, it came up when we had 3 members from Unit 1 so often. They're able to find people to run, and that's a good thing. but they're looking at their friends and neighbors, and we cannot have that many from one, because I know that our current members wouldn't do it, but you can get into some hanky-panky with the quorum being the 3 people from one unit. I mean, it's just not good business, I don't think. And I understand members of the architectural committee are coming to meet with the board, or do you know?
That's what I heard.
Okay.
Part of the problem is it's a very demanding committee because of the fact it meets almost weekly every week. And so it's not so easy to get people to volunteer to do that.
Well, do we have a motion on this?
I make a motion, we accept.
Do we have a second? The motion dies for lack of a second.
I would move that we table it until next month, and in the meantime, talk with the committee themselves and see if they have any other solutions available. There may be somebody on that committee that really wants to step down, or they could be replaced by Rick, and then we could get scrape up somebody else to volunteer.
I don't suppose there's anybody in the audience.
I don't think there's anything against Rick Myers personally. I think he'd probably be great. But the problem is the 3 from one unit.
Could I ask a question? I just want to know if we have any qualifications listed for someone serving on the architectural committee.
You need a pulse.
They must be.
They need to be a property owner.
They must be a lot owner. They must also. I had a word and I lost it. Oh, I agree on the pulse, but it would be really, really nice if we could make the less. Oh, I know where I was going with that. Excuse me, I'm old. Give up. We also have employees serving on that committee. For instance, Chris goes around and makes sure everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing or not doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's one of the ways we check up on them. There's a number of other ways that we find you don't have to know a great deal, but it would be good if you could at least listen to what the people who are knowledgeable have to tell you. That's what I'm talking about. Now back to the pulse.
I think I made a motion. I believe I heard Sandy second it.
To table it 1 month.
And talk to the committee about the problem.
Any other discussion? All right, all in favor of tabling the motion? Did you vote? Opposed?
Bob says he's going to abstain.
All right. Bill is abstaining from tabling the motion. Moving right along. Under old unfinished business, most of these things are just catching up and letting you know where things are. On the tabled assessment increase, the board, I think, is probably in favor of an assessment increase, but at this point, it remains tabled. There is nothing that has been done about it. Does anybody want to speak to it, or?
It remains tabled. The first time we tabled it because the coupons had already gone out and it was a logistics nightmare to redo the coupon. So soon after, we are now dealing with the election. Excuse me, please. we're now dealing with the election, but we have not forgotten this. The cost of living went up 2% this year for Social Security, so our calculations initially in September were correct at 2%. And just be aware that we have not forgotten this. The Finance Advisory Committee has looked at our financials and agrees that this is the correct move to make. And it will be coming up in the near future. And aware that we also have to review the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, again after June's publication, so that will be done in July.
And one of the reasons I think it was tabled, that I, among others, are not in favor of increasing an assessment in the middle of a year. But you can vote on it, or you can at least warn people that it's coming. All right, next, schedule a final renters workshop. I think we're down to a couple of things that everybody agrees on. Any ideas on a date for a renters workshop? I'm talking about the board. Like to have it be in January if possible. That's coming right up. No, I mean, the end of January is coming right up. Sorry.
My knowledge, I don't have any problems. I have no problems at this point.
Okay. All right. How about you? You got some doctor appointments, so
Yeah, I do in February 3rd, I think.
okay. So January's still okay.
As far as I know, yeah.
I have out-of-town companies the week of the 29th.
So if we had it before the 29th?
That would be next week.
Yep.
How about January 25th? That's a Thursday,
Works for me.
I believe.
Anybody?
I can if I can find somebody else to run couples that day.
Oh, all right, well, no, then don't, that's right. I forgot about that.
I don't mind missing couples, but I have to find somebody to replace us.
Well, how about January 26th?
That's Friday.
Yeah, it works.
Anybody else?
I have no idea if I'm free, but
Friday.
I'm good.
I'm good.
26th, at what time?
10? Same time we've been having?
10?
I like 10.
Myrna?
Yes.
Did you want to have as many membership or people to attend the
Yes,
workshop as
I was-
possible?
soon as-
Somebody in the audience announced that was one of the days, or that is the day the Alamo
There's 2
Village.
days, Friday and Saturday.
That's the
starts.
26th, is it?
Yes,
26 and 27. 26 is the first day of the session.
What's Saturday?
Wait.
Oh,
Excuse me. 10 o'clock on Friday morning isn't going to interfere with too much. Do you think? You're not going to be here?
Are you looking at me?
Yes, you're the one that brought it
I
up.
had planned to go to the Alamo Village sale, and it starts that day at 10 o'clock. But I
Okay.
can go to the Alamo Village sale later.
or we could move into February.
That gets real busy.
For a renters workshop.
I still like to go back to the 25th. Was there a problem with that?
25th or 26th?
25th?
Yeah, I have to find somebody to run couples.
I don't see why anybody wouldn't be thrilled.
How about Deb Tischler?
I'll be there.
You want to run it for us?
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
so we changed it
Yeah,
to the
thanks,
25th
Doug.
then?
The 25th at 10 o'clock, okay?
Thursday.
Yes. All right.
Thank you, Deborah Jo.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
That's this coming up Thursday. Don't get it confused.
Better buy something for the clerk, because we-
Here in the boardroom.
In the boardroom here, right?
Yeah. Okay. with the idea in mind of trying to get our bylaws into the hands of people before you all leave for the summer again, I'd like to see a bylaws membership meeting in February. Later February is fine with me. Even after the next meeting would be fine with me. But I think Sandy and I need to meet again to look at the language that, if I said that, I think I should have been wrong. What I'm saying is that Sandy and I were trying to clean up the language and make sure that it was spoke the same with the same voice throughout, if that makes sense. So I think we need one more meeting. Yeah, and you and I can talk about that. But as far as a membership input into the bylaws, we need a meeting like that.
About mid-February sometime, 7th to the 14th.
The board meeting is the 17th.
You want to have it after that or before?
Doesn't matter to me.
Well, it's kind of,
I think before, because then we can report our progress at the board meeting.
okay.
Oh, that's a good idea. You could
All
have
right.
February 14th, that can be a love fest.
We can bring chocolate hearts.
We can all hug each other.
I don't know about you, but I'm worried about Jones.
Again, 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock on the,
14th.
seriously, on the 14th?
Why not? It's our Valentine's Day gift to everyone.
How long have you lived here? All right, I'll remind you now, we're scheduling the final renters workshop for the 25th. After that workshop, we're going to ask the, Mr. Lawrence, let's just say his name. I was going to say executive officer. But we're going to ask you to make sure that the rules and regulations are changed to support the what comes out of this renters workshop, okay? And then we'll have those at the February meeting. As for the bylaw revisions, I have a hunch we'll have lots of input from membership. Or none. I've lived here a long time too. All right. We're
14th at 10 o'clock?
right. We're ready for the 15 minutes of discussion. Okay, anyone? I have 3 names, which means you could have 5 minutes each, and please don't do that. Is there anyone who needs to get on this list? That's right. I was going to put you on them. Go ahead, we'll do you first. Thank you.
Fort Clark Days is alive and well. We had a meeting this past Monday night and trying to finalize the last details. As you probably are aware, there's more emphasis this year on the historical aspect of Fort Clark Days. We're going to have only vendors who are artisans, who are making what they're selling and hopefully on the premises doing that. There won't be the vendors that we've had in the past selling all kinds of odds and ends that have nothing to do with Fort Clark Days. And Allison is working very hard to make sure that that's the case. We right now have currently about 125 living historians coming. The big concern we had initially in the fall, there was some talk of not having Fort Clark Days. And we have worked for years to get this many living historians here. It's on their calendar. They do this annually. They go from one to the next, to the next, to the next. And if we get out of the loop, we may never get them back. So that was the reason why we want to go forward with this. What else can I tell you? We have 20 to 30 Lapan Apaches coming. And we interviewed the guy the other night, and he was so fascinating. It was just unbelievable. This is their home area. They consider this to be their home area, and they want to come back and do something special just for them. It won't be for the public. And do a ceremony that they haven't done for the past 100 years. They're trying to bring back their culture, and I believe they have permission to do that. I hope so, but if they haven't, they'll get it. But it's just, and they're going to do some cooking, and they're bringing in dancers from California who've never been here before, and they have these special headdresses on that are phenomenal. And you know, he was trying to educate us on how to approach these people. You never touch them. This is like a religious ceremony for them. You don't mention their costumes. It's their regalia. So anyway, we're very excited about these guys, and they're excited to be here. And some of our supporters, our financial supporters, are also excited about this, and they want in on it for them to come to their functions like AEP. We're working AEP for a big donation right now. I mean, we have a big one in there, and we're holding our breath. And they wanted the information about the Lapan, so they could bring it to their company picnic, you know, so people can see this. So again, we're having cannons. We have the insurance for that from the gun club. We have camels, mounted cavalry, no vendors other than artisans. Elizabeth Hodges right here is in charge. She's the resident professional musician, and she's whipping us all into shape to play old Texas music from the old days. I'm suffering, but I'm getting there. There will be 4 food vendors, 1 water and soda vendor. We currently have about 650 school children, and we're hoping to get 1,200. So there's a special person working on that. And so I hope this is the year to turn the Fort Clark Days around. It's kind of like dwindled a bit in the past. The gun club. Oh, the gun club gave us, can I say how much they gave us? They gave us $2,000 the other night. Thank you, gun club. And so, you know, we're out there beating the bushes for big money, not $25, and these guys are stepping up to the plate. So I hope you understand that this is the year they want to turn Fort Clark Days around to a living historian, like you would go to Fort Concho. And it's not a, well, I don't want to say festival, but it's not a carnival. Anything else? Any questions? Please come. Please plan on coming. Bring everybody you know.
Remember that some of what you want to do away with is how we make some money for the...
Well, we understand that, but they have someone who is outstanding.
I didn't mean to argue with you.
No, but they have someone who's outstanding in the big donation department, so we're working on it from that
Let's
aspect.
go for that, yes.
Okay? Thank you. Yep.
Linda came up to me during the little break and told me she could do this, and she did it well. Thank you. All right, Terry. And I can't read your last name for sure. Is it?
Kniper.
Well, I never would have gotten there. Kniper?
Kniper. Yeah, it'd be me. My husband and I were out and about yesterday in our golf cart behind Unit 3, I believe. And we came across what Steve told us was the old septic system for the old fort, with which there's a bunch of big cement pillar things and like where some fence were and whatever. But in that there's some big openings which are extremely deep. Number one, some of them are full of water, which AE mosquitoes, and also they're open. And if a child or animals fall in there, it's candy bar the door. For me, that's a huge safety issue, especially with summer coming. And I was just wondering, seeing if maybe we could get it either probably filled in, because like at the end of Scales, when you turn right and go back where the truck wash, quote unquote, sign is, there's a bunch of dumped cement pieces there and stuff like that. That would be perfect for filling in those open containers, as it were. I'm just thinking that's extremely dangerous for animals, kids, because you know how teenagers are when they want to get curious about things, because we were curious yesterday, and I'm not a teenager, but, darn it. But, you know, by looking in there, it's extremely deep down in there, and it looks like even a cave system in one of them.
Yeah, we're happy to explore that.
That would be, you know, it's just, and put a cover over it or something to where, you know,
I-
they can't fall in.
Anytime someone can bring something like this to us, it's a good idea. So thank you for,
Yeah, and like I said, you could, it's easy to fill in since you got all that other stuff back there on that road that you could use, that don't have to be new.
Richard should be talking with Philip about that, and they'll
Okay, great.
work on it.
Thanks a bunch.
Jen, did you have something?
Well, first of all, I need to apologize for your misspelling of your name. We had 3 different spellings, so it was eeny, meeny, miny, moe. And apparently we chose the wrong one.
Mo was not right.
And then would you refresh my memory on, why don't we have an RV report? They're alive and doing great
I
out
know.
there.
I have no idea.
Well,
It's not listed.
Oh.
I think
Well, we don't have one either.
we need to determine who the committee is and who the chairman of that committee is. In the past, we've got reports from the manager. I think it actually should come from the committee. And the manager reports to Richard, and the committee would offer a report here, so.
Well, I still think we need a report from the manager available during a meeting, because that tells us we're doing good.
no question, she normally does give us a report, I'll have to
Sure.
ask to see, but yes, I think you're absolutely correct, that there needs to be a report coming from the committee, not the manager. The manager has done that by default, I think.
Right, but the manager, like every other department out there, the manager reports to you, and the committee report here.
Debbie has her hand up back there.
Yeah, I do see her, but I'm not ready for you, Deb.
Oh, I just wanted to make a comment.
I will call on you in a minute. God, not a teenager either.
Well, I was thinking, there's so many capable people out there besides the manager that could give a report.
Right.
Well, there is a RV.
There is an RV committee, and they do so many good things. And it would be nice if they came in to do it. I blame myself for not following up on that, because I've been writing the RV committee, or the RV people, the working on the RV part, trying not to forget the RV people, and then I forgot it. So,
Thank you.
thank you for bringing it up. And we'll get on it. We don't have or maybe I forgot, I lost it. Do we have a report from the motel this month?
I believe it's in there.
It is? I don't think so. We usually have one from each.
That may be my fault. I remember seeing it, but I may not have distributed it. I
Okay.
apologize.
I really appreciate that. Always have questions about it. Both of them, actually.
I'll see to it that you get one.
One from each. Remember the RV committee as
Yes.
well as the motel. Okay. Probably the RV committee works so hard they don't have time to send anybody to our meetings. let me call on Debbie first.
That's what I was gonna say.
I just wanted to say, they do the pancake breakfast on Saturday mornings, and most of the committee are working in that pancake breakfast.
I know.
So, but they could appoint somebody else to give a report if they would write it out.
Or we could go over there and have breakfast. Okay. Last name I have is Mary Francis.
My question was answered, but what I wanted to say was follow up with Fort Clark Days. If you do Facebook and you see something about Fort Clark Days, if you would share it, it would go out to everybody that sees your Facebook, and it would get the word out more. If you have teenage grandchildren or children, you can ask them to do it for you, because they know how. We've been, the man who, the Lippon representative that spoke to us sent us some really fabulous pictures. And I posted one the other day. I didn't want to post all of them all at one time, but if you see some of those, if you put them out, I mean, they're really spectacular. And those pictures, I think, would draw people to want to come here to see them, if nothing else. I don't have any living historian pictures, but we could probably get some. We just need to the word out, and Facebook and media is a good way to do it. I don't do Twitter. If you have somebody who does Twitter, you might get our president's attention. Yeah.
Back there, I can't see who you are, but there you go.
I just want to say that I am under, I talked with Allison, I am working on a new Fort Clark Day Facebook page, so.
Oh, good.
That should happen in a few days, and then hopefully.
Great, and you
put
are,
everything there, and then.
you are coordinating it through our,
I'm sorry?
I'll get the word in a minute.
Oh.
Carol Ann is what I was going for.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else want to throw in a quickie?
Yes, I do.
All right.
I have a question. Are we ever gonna, in the near future, get a P&L? I mean, because obviously you guys have gotten something.
You didn't get copies of this?
The P&L? No, ma'am.
Okay. I was not aware that you didn't get copies.
We do not get copies. We haven't had copies for months.
Well, we haven't either.
I understand there's a problem.
No, we can get those. How about if we put those up at the desk today? Can we run some programs?
Yes.
We'll run some. That was an oversight this
Thank you.
I'll let you go in a minute. But I'm sorry about your not having those back there. And I'm not even sure that these are correct yet. Are we certain of that? Okay, please, wait till we're going to, did you want to speak?
No, I don't want to speak.
Oh,
You make
please.
comments that's just really outrageous. You're saying that the stuff's not ready and that you don't know if it's gonna be right? I mean, who does? Who does know if it's gonna be right?
Do you want to speak up here?
No, I don't want to speak up there. I just
Well,
asked
then-
you a question. You asked me a question, I answered it. So, what?
That's what I'm asking, what?
I answered your question. You are making statements up there that doesn't make sense. You sit there and say that you don't know if it's going to be right. Well, who does know if it's going to be right? Does he?
Don't,
Who's going to know if it's going to be right?
wait,
The financial committee?
please, wait.
Richard answered this question.
I think the situation right now, as has been put out there, is this old antiquated accounting system that's blended a little bit with the new system has been screwed up. And they've been working on it. It's very complicated. There's hundreds of different accounts that have to be reconciled and put together and matched. There's a volunteer computer programmer working on trying to facilitate getting some of it done faster. We had our auditor involved in part of it, and then plus we have the CPA from the Susan B. Newcomb firm that's acting as a coordinator on it. It has got to the point where it is quite accurate, they feel, but there may be some still little glicks that are off a little bit. Not thousands of dollars, but maybe $100 or $10 or whatever. But an accounting record should be exact to the penny. And we cannot be sure that it's there because they haven't completed the task of correcting it. They're still working on it. And so these financial statements that we have, and you should have been supplied, sorry about that, are the best that we have right now. That's the best we have. And there you've got 3 major people working on making sure that they're absolutely correct and putting them together. Hopefully it'll be done soon, but we're frustrated and we understand your frustration on it too.
We want an accurate, we want to know.
Sure.
We want to know the real figures.
Yeah. Well, these figures are probably pretty close, but maybe they're off $100.
I don't. I don't have any argument with you. I've been as concerned as any member because it's my money too. So it's taken us a year to get here, and I think it's about time. Especially, don't. Please comment. Don't. I'm not condemning you for your concern. I'm telling you that we are aware of it. We're as concerned as you are. I wish you had gotten these. They will be available at the desk, I'm told. Then I think we're off a little bit more than that in some of the figures.
Well, we don't know for sure. I haven't seen anything that would indicate that. And the thing is, if anybody has a quick fix for this, that they can do it faster than 2 CPAs and a computer program that are working on it, let us know. You know, if you've got a quick fix, because none of us up here are accountants.
And let me point out, please, that this is a problem that has developed over the last 20 to 25 years. When I saw that the problem is there, I determined that we must fix it. We cannot continue to go as we have gone. And that's what we're trying to do. And so we would ask the members of Goodwill to please be patient.
Trying to fix 20 years worth of mistakes, and we will have a final audit at the annual meeting as we do every year, so.
Anyone else? All right. We are now adjourning to executive session. Okay. We're now adjourning to executive session. We will return after that is over. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you the time. That's what mine says too.
Yes, we've met several times. How are you? Thank you for taking on the Don't worry. 5.5 years. Should have been one Thank you for trying out for this. Yes. Well, we're going to see what happens. If you like a size for your yard, I can get you one. I have some in my car. Oh, yeah. I did watch it. Thank you.
Somebody put up here, I saw
Except upstairs when she's sleeping.
Oh, yeah, you did. Had one chair. I don't care.
That's exactly right.
All right, see you
Yeah, I just know I know.
It seems to go. License to carry. License to carry. Because our year starts just for the winter taxes, they'll all come down. Go for it, you know.
Do you have any, and I know that any, cards? I want to go to.
Martinez is the chair.
President.
And he doesn't.
I was going to bring some of the. Very good, man. You did a good job. Yeah.
I don't think the architectural committee showed up.
There's one member to
Those lines you got to read.
It's not even something that you should feel.
She would.
Okay, well, anyway, so hi
at the very end of that.
She's gonna wear it to the road.
It's 12:35, I'm calling us back into session. We have 2 votes to take care of. Do I have a motion on the variance?
Yes. I move that we grant the variance
Dean Ford?
B.O.D. for 29 Lamont Street, changing the setback requirement from 5 feet to 3 feet.
I second the motion.
Any discussion?
I think we ought to make it that it's on this specific request only, not on his whole property.
That's a good point. I accept that as a friendly clarification that it's to apply only to a specific application that has now been submitted.
And I agree with my second.
All right. Any more discussion? All in favor of the amended motion? Anyone opposed? Okay. Our second vote will be on the member for the airport committee. Do I have a motion for that?
I will move that we accept Mr. Aleknes as an addition to the airport committee.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? I'd like to point out that Mr. Aleknes, like other airport committee members, has one requirement that the rest of the committees don't have. He has to own a plane and be flying somewhere. Okay. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion approved. The next regular meeting is February 17th
Yes.
in this room. Any more business?
I don't know, is he here for us or is he just here to listen?
Doesn't matter because he hasn't said anything. We're adjourned at 12:38.
Just let me know what you guys are gonna do.
You bet, you bet, you
I'm
bet.
available anytime.
I'll try to get on it right
Yeah,
away.
sure thing, sure thing. And we're here for the fourth, so.
I'm